Before diving into this incredible story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell. Every story here has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. The sun was slowly setting over Chicago, enveloping the city in a soft, golden light that was almost magical. The stifling heat of the day was gradually fading, giving way to a light coolness that caressed the skin like a promise of respite. All around, the sounds of the city were softening. The murmur of conversations, the distant drone of cars, and even the faint song of birds returning to perch on the rooftops. Jasmine Carter walked leisurely along the sidewalk of 55th Street, her bag clutched to her shoulder. At 38, she exuded a simple, effortless elegance, her ebony skin illuminated by the last rays of daylight, and her eyes filled with gentleness and determination. Her day at the public library had been filled with books, encounters with readers of all ages, and a sense of purpose that she cherished. Her life was simple yet meaningful. A single mother of an 8-year-old daughter, Mia, she juggled work, parenting, and community involvement. Jasmine deeply believed that knowledge could change lives, and she strived every day to share it with those around her. As she walked toward her neighborhood, her gaze was drawn to a figure sitting on the curb, right next to a subway entrance. A man was there, slumped, as if drained of strength. Despite his fine clothing, a wrinkled white shirt, dark dress pants, carefully polished leather shoes, he seemed broken, crushed by an invisible pain. Jasmine slowed down, her heart sinking. She knew all too well those tired looks, those troubled souls she encountered on the streets. But this man radiated something special, a distress so profound that she could not remain indifferent. She approached quietly, her voice low and soothing. "Hey, how are you?" she asked gently, extending her hand in kindness. The man slowly raised his head, surprised by this unexpected attention. His clear eyes, dark circles and clouded with sadness, sought to cling to something real, something reassuring. "I just need some water," he murmured, his voice hoarse, almost broken. Without hesitation, Jasmine rummaged in her bag and took out a bottle of water, which she handed to him. "Here, drink. Take your time." The man gratefully grasped the bottle and drank slowly, each sip seeming to restore a little strength. His hands trembled slightly, betraying his fatigue and vulnerability. "Thank you. My name is David. David Matthews," he said finally, his tired gaze turning to her. Jasmine gave him a warm smile. "My name is Jasmine. What happened?" David shook his head, as if searching for the right words, hesitant to confide. "It's complicated. I just need a moment." Jasmine sat down quietly beside him, respecting his silence. Sometimes there was nothing better to do than simply be present. Time passed, punctuated by their calm breathing, until David found the strength to speak. "I'm overwhelmed. Work problems, personal worries. I feel like I've lost everything." Jasmine placed a light, reassuring hand on his shoulder, conveying a little courage with this simple gesture. "Sometimes life knocks us down to teach us how to get back up stronger." David smiled, touched by the sincerity and warmth of her words. This suspended moment between them marked the beginning of a story neither of them could have foreseen. The next morning, soft sunlight filtered through the curtains in Jasmine's kitchen. She busied herself preparing breakfast for Mia, who hummed and drew on the table. The comforting smell of freshly brewed coffee and toast filled the room. Everything seemed peaceful, like a painting of an ordinary morning. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed outside, cutting through the usual murmur of birds and the chatter of neighbors. Jasmine froze, her heart slightly surprised. She put down the spatula and walked to the window. There, in front of her house, a massive black SUV had just pulled up. The windows were so tinted that she couldn't make out any faces inside. A shiver of uncertainty ran down her spine. Who could possibly be coming to see her? She hadn't given anyone her address. A mixture of curiosity and apprehension tightened her chest. The vehicle door opened slowly, and a man in a dark suit, impeccably tailored, stepped out with measured elegance. He had a professional demeanor, a serious but respectful expression, and wore a slim silver watch on his wrist. "Miss Carter," he announced calmly. "I'm Mark Thompson, assistant to Mr. David Matthews." He held out a business card, which Jasmine took with slight astonishment, her fingers brushing against the glossy paper. "Mr. Matthews asked me to thank you personally for your help last night," Mark continued. He would like to treat you to lunch today, a small gesture of gratitude for what you did. Jasmine was silent for a moment, her mind spinning between surprise and caution. She remembered David, the tired, humble man she'd met the day before, so far from the image her assistant gave off. After a short hesitation, a smile appeared on his lips. "Thank you," she replied softly. "It will be a pleasure." Mark nodded, a slight smile on his face. "Very well, I'll pick you up at noon." The black SUV slowly drove off, leaving behind a scent of mystery and unexpected invitation. Jasmine, still in shock, returned to her kitchen, her heart beating a little faster, her gaze lost between the window and the table where Mia continued to draw, innocent and carefree. The restaurant they'd arranged to meet at was a small, discreet establishment tucked away on a quiet street in downtown Chicago. The exposed brick walls and dim lighting created a warm, almost intimate atmosphere. Jasmine and David sat at a table by the window, where the daylight filtered in gently, caressing their faces. David took a deep breath before he began to speak. His voice was deep, tinged with fatigue, but also disarmingly honest. "I'm the CEO of a major technology company," he explained slowly. "Matthews Innovations. It's a company that's grown rapidly, with ambitious projects, brilliant employees, and significant investments. But recently, a financial scandal erupted, and everything collapsed around me." He paused, searching for words. "Many people think I cheated, that I took advantage of my position to embezzle funds," he confessed, lowering his eyes slightly. "But that's not true. I'm the victim of manipulation orchestrated by certain members of my board of directors, who wanted to take control of the company at my expense." Jasmine listened attentively, her gaze filled with compassion. What she perceived beyond the words was a wound far deeper than that caused by money. It was an attack on his honor, his reputation, everything he had built with his own hands. "It's not just about money, David," she said softly. "It's about integrity. And what you're experiencing is the most painful betrayal." He looked up at her, surprised by her insight. "You had the courage to admit your weaknesses to a stranger," Jasmine added with a genuine smile. "It shows who you really are, beyond appearances and judgments." David smiled, a little sad but grateful. "And you, Jasmine, are much more than just a librarian," he continued admiringly. "You have a wisdom, an inner strength, a light that few possess. You bring balance and clarity to the chaos that surrounds me." Their eyes met, and in that suspended moment, a fragile but sincere trust settled between them. Their conversations flowed naturally, moving from trials to hopes, from childhood dreams to adult realities. They talked about family, sacrifice, the complexity of human relationships, and the constant search for meaning. Jasmine shared stories about her daughter Mia, the simple joy of seeing a child marvel at a book, and her commitment to providing opportunities for young people in the neighborhood. David, for his part, spoke of his hidden passions, jazz music, travel, and this deep desire to rebuild his life on more solid, more authentic foundations. Time seemed to fade around them, the clinking of cutlery and voices becoming a distant whisper. There was a budding complicity between them, based on truth and shared vulnerability. The weeks passed slowly, like the pages of a book turning with the rhythm of the days. Each morning, Jasmine found new energy, carried by David's resurgent confidence. He, little by little, learned to overcome his wounds, to heal his doubts. His once tense figure softened. His gaze regained that spark of ambition and hope. Jasmine had become more than a friend, more than just a support. She had become a light in the darkness that surrounded him. Together, they shared their ideas, their dreams, their visions of a better world. One evening, while they were having lunch in a small neighborhood cafe, David placed a carefully prepared file on the table. "Jasmine," he said with a smile full of conviction, "I've been thinking about what we can do together. I want you to lead a project that reflects your personality, creating a foundation to help disadvantaged youth access education and culture. This is your field, your passion, and I want us to offer these children what you already offer Mia: opportunities, hope, broadened horizons." Jasmine felt a surge of emotion rise within her. This was more than just a project. It was the realization of a long-cherished dream to make a real difference in her community. "It's incredible," she murmured, almost incredulous. "But I don't want money or fame to change who I am. I want to stay true to my values, to my simplicity. David looked at her with sincere tenderness. No matter what happens, Jasmine, you'll stay the same. The real you. And that's why I believe in you. His words were like a promise, a solid anchor in the midst of storms. With David's financial and moral support, Jasmine launched the Horizons Éclairs Foundation. The project quickly grew, reaching hundreds of young people across Chicago. Reading workshops, scholarships, cultural outings. Everything was designed to open the doors to knowledge and self-confidence. Jasmine and David's collaboration became a living example of hope and humanity in a city often fractured by inequality. Their alliance proved that beyond social, racial, and economic differences, it was possible to build something great and beautiful. The black SUV, which at first symbolized a mysterious disquiet, had become a sign of renewal and promises kept. One evening, as Jasmine was walking home from a foundation meeting, she came across that vehicle again. She looked at it one last time, a soft, serene smile on her lips. Sometimes, she told herself, the most unlikely encounters change a life forever. And thanks to this encounter, her life had just taken a turn she could never have imagined.